Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit Changani, and today we have the top leadership from Stellantis and Citroen for India, and they've been kind enough to give us this time where they're going to be answering a lot of questions that you have about the brand. And we have with us Mr. Saurabh Vatsa, who's the brand head at Citroen, and we also have Mr. Roland Bouchara, who's the head at Stellantis Group in India. So these two people are going to be answering some really important questions that you probably have, and we are going to start off with the product itself. First and foremost, congratulations for a fantastic unveil of the product.
Thank you.
And the C3 is something that even I am very, very eagerly, keenly looking at.
I'm sure.
So if you could just let us know about the market positioning of this product, who is this product for, and who is this product release targeted at?
So, first of all, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Goa. In terms of target, basically this is targeted at the young progressive Indians, 38 to 48, spillovers on both sides, on the lower side and the upper side. And this is a sub 4 meter hatch and very strong SUV codes. And like I shared with you, we had developed this entire platform, the smart car platform, the CQ platform has been developed in India. And that gave us the flexibility to kind of go to the consumer again and again and listen to the voice of the consumer while we were designing the platform, while we were designing the C3, while we were configuring the C3. And along with that, we had the overarching objective of making two things sure. One, Citroen brand for 100 years, over 100 years, has stood for comfort. When we brought in the brand to the country, and the C5 was a clear picture of comfort for everybody in the SUV segment. So Citroen Advanced Comfort was something core that we had to put in the C3. And the second thing was the styling, of course, which is going to be visible to people. And therefore it had to have that family look. So the C5 and the C3, when you look at both the vehicles from outside, very clearly they come from the same family, the Citroen family. It's evident. And the target audience being young progressives, while we were talking to them again and again, very clearly told us two things. One, simplify our buying journey. We don't want complicated trim combinations and patterns. And of course, while Citroen has digitized the entire consumer journey, which they really appreciated because they can be wherever they are and they can be in touch with us. And the best part is they can configure the vehicles even before they come to us. And then we have these large phygital showrooms called the La Maison Citroen showrooms, where they can actually come to the big screens and configure their vehicles and actually see it live. And of course, what was really important for these people was to make sure that they asked for customization and personalization, which is so important to them. So those were the overarching tenets under which we've actually designed, developed, and now executed the C3 and brought it.
My next question is about the markets for this new product. Since this is built in India, I'm pretty sure that it's going to do well in India. But apart from India, which other markets is this product going to?
Actually, this product, or I will prefer to say this platform, has been developed after India in LATAM. So the car is going to be as well launched in LATAM, and the next one will be probably the ASEAN market and Middle East, very likely. So you see what I mean. Step by step, this platform is going to irrigate some other market outside India.
So African market also is a part of the picture?
Yeah.
While you may not be able to share it with me, can you give me a rough idea of what's the number that you're looking at in terms of the total production capacity or the exports?
I can answer to this one. You are not going to be surprised because I'm not going to give you any figures for two main reasons. The first one is who knows what will be the market.
Right.
The COVID was one example. Let's say whatever the prediction you do, and now we have this kind of, crisis and shortage, chip shortage, etc. But nevertheless, I would like to answer a certain way to your question, which is a legitimate question, obviously. With the smart car platform, and the first car is going to be the C3. Then we have the EC3. It has been announced by our CEO. And then, as we committed in 2019, we are going to launch one new car every year, new body style. What I can tell you is that the whole model coming out this platform will be within the mainstream segment.
Okay.
Secondly, the most important point so far we are concerned, Stellantis in India and more particularly Citroen with the smart car, is to have a constant growth. It's important to say that because the experience is showing that many OEM have been used to have a kind of up and down. But so far we are concerned with this platform where we are going to launch one car every year for at least for the next 4 or 5 years. That's
right.
We do know that we will see. We are going to ensure a continuous growth within the mainstream segments. And I would like something else which is important. We are not going to develop a growth for the sake of the growing growth. We need to develop this kind of growth continuously with profit.
Profitability.
Why? It is because profit is very important in order to maintain the development of the future products and new technology.
Right.
And EV, is very demanding in terms of technology and investment. So it's very important to not chasing the volume for the sake of chasing the volume,
Right.
but volume based on real demand, based on new models, showing the trend which is continuously growing. That's for sure. We intend to grow every year,
Right.
but with profit in order to ensure the sustainability of our business model over the next years and being able to reinvest in India because, as I explained,
Of course.
we have developed a very strong, we can say that, footprint, which is not yet finished, but we have already developed a strong finish. We have a strong foundation within an ecosystem. And then, without giving you some specific figures, but you can understand that we will be in the mainstream segment, and we can ensure a continuous growth, but profitable.
Now, we have already talked about the market that this car is going to probably, cater to. But apart from that, there are going to be some USPs that you guys are which are going to be the pillars of the success of this car. What, according to you, are the USPs of this product which are going to differentiate it from the, rest of the products in the market, and something that people are really going to, buy it for?
So clearly, I mean, if you look at the C3, comes from the Citroen family. So therefore, the Citroen Advanced Comfort and the themes, the 4 themes around it, which is customized comfort, live elevated, infotainment, and happy space, they apply to the C3. And if you look at each one of them, they are kind of a differentiating factor when you put it against some of the other vehicles in the category. Clearly, design and styling is going to set it apart. And by the way, it's got a very strong road presence by the virtue of its design and styling. And it's a sub 4 meter hatch, but very clear SUV attitude outside. And that is again based on what the young and progressive people are looking at. 180 millimeter ground clearance, large wheels, bonnet which is high. You've got tall seating inside with panoramic view. You've got theater style seating with plenty of headroom. Very SUV characteristics. Second, what is really important to the brand, to the product and to the consumers is comfort. And this vehicle is truly going to deliver comfort, especially the comfort that will come from the chassis suspension dynamics, the road holding and all the configurations in terms of the seating configuration that we have inside, the ergonomics of the interaction with the machine, the man-machine interface. Clearly that's going to set it apart, and apart from that, we've focused on some very important elements that the consumers have told us. One is air conditioning, the tropicalized air conditioning that we are talking of, because the heat levels across the country in the Indian summers are excruciating, and people want a sub 4 meter hatch which can cool very quickly, and you will see that tomorrow when you drive the car. You will experience it for yourself. Second is the infotainment system that we have within the car. It's a 10-inch, 26 centimeter screen that we have, horizontal layout, very easy to read when you're driving, highly interactive, intuitive, and visible to everybody inside the cabin. And those are the things that are going to set it apart from the styling. And then comes the two powertrain combinations, both the PureTech 82 with the 82 PS with 5-speed transmission, PureTech 110 with 110 PS and 6-speed transmission. Definitely fun to drive, and that's going to set it apart.
Those really are some very, very strong arguments. And about the comfort, I can be completely sure. Coming from Citroen, I've experienced this on the C5 Aircross, so I can personally vouch for the kind of comfort that that car offers.
And definitely very unique in the category, because you test vehicles every day, and when you will test this vehicle tomorrow, we will ask you what do you have to say for that.
But product is one thing, and the after-sales service and spares experience is another thing. And at this point in time, Citroen's presence across India is, it's not so dense.
Right.
So how would you want to address, our viewers and their worries if they like the product, and if they have any inhibitions about the service centers or touch points? So what are the things that they need to know about before they go out and buy the car, just so that they are sure that they'll get timely service and their needs will be taken care of?
I think if you go back in time, when the C5 Aircross was launched, we had 10 cities covered with 11 outlets and 11 service points. The idea behind that was to cover almost about 80% of the CSUV market in the country. The idea was also that it was a new brand with new India unique initiatives that we had taken for the dealership network. We had digitized the entire consumer journey. And at the same point in time, we had these new phygital La Maison showrooms where the consumers were going to close their entire digital consumer journey. It was important for us to, of course, cater to the 80% of the CSUV market, but at the same point in time, new brand in a new country with new processes which are India unique, a completely digitized consumer journey. It was important for us to establish all of that and make sure that everybody and each team inside the company, outside of the dealerships was well trained, educated, aligned.
Put the basic systems in place.
Everything. This was a runway which was planned for the C3, which was going to enter the mainstream B hatch. So it was not by chance that we did that, it was a plan that was put forward. Like Rollo mentioned, the industrialization part of the entire story, this was the go-to-market strategy that we had. Now that the CQ platform is coming alive with the C3, at launch we'll have 20 locations covered, and at the same time you'll have 20 workshops. And this process is now not going to stop because, as Rollo mentioned, we've got multiple products coming in on the CQ platform, the EV is coming next year. And we will finish the year with 30 plus dealerships, 20 in July at launch, 30 plus at the end of the year 2022, and then we keep growing next year. As he said, the EV comes in, the other top hats come in.
I would like to add one point to complete the after-sales side, if I may say. As we told you, we spent a lot of time to listen to the customers. It was a great experience because we had the opportunity to start from scratch and being based in India and developing this car with Indian people, engineering, design, concept, development, all every engine.
Yeah.
Except me, I'm French, but we understand what I mean. But so we listened to the customers, and as I was saying, a lot of things have been listed, and obviously a lot of things are important, but we try to identify what is essentials. I'm not going to come back about what Saurabh said, but from after sales point of view, one thing we had in our mind is to make sure that the car will be easy to diagnostic, easy to repair.
At the development stage itself.
Exactly. Right, starting working with the project, because I was there with the team.
That's a very important point, I believe.
I was there with the team when we started to conceptualize. I was there.
Right.
So, and we told them, we need to conceptualize the car in order to make sure that any issues, if any issues, will be easy to diagnostic, easy to access.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not removing everything, which is taking time. You understand? And easy to repair, and the sense of when we can change the little parts, but not the panel, if I make it simple. And this has been taken into consideration right at the beginning. It is why, if you are going to open the boot, you will see oh, it's quite simple. Yes, yes. We want it to be simple
Right.
and not hyper complicated. And when you have to change the part, you have to change the module. We wanted to avoid it.
It's very interesting.
We wanted to avoid it
Right.
on purpose. It is because we started from scratch with no preconceived things that's copycat from
Right.
Europe. Europe is Europe. We are in India.
I think that's one lesson that manufacturers like Volkswagen have learned the hard way, and now they're coming.
You see what I mean? We are in India. We are not in Europe.
Right.
And it is the beauty of this project. We brought even within Stellantis something new.
Right.
That's I wanted to add it from a success point of view, which is very important for all our auditors.
That's a great insight.
And on top of that, with 95% plus localization, what you talk
Right.
about spare parts, the complete supplier base is right here. 90% of our suppliers are within 50 kilometers of the Tiruvallur factory. And we have one Stellantis PDC now, which is in the heart of the country in Pune, and we are going to supply parts throughout the country. The second part is like we had on the C5, we had a service on wheels. So a lot of consumers, from a new brand perspective, they want some kind of a reassurance from the company that I'm buying the car and probably I'll be driving outside the city, or maybe I'll be living outside the city where your dealer is. How will I get service? So every dealership has a service on wheels, and that service on wheels actually goes and provides service and minor repairs to all customers who are looking at it. And this travels 500, 600, 800 kilometers outside the city, and the customers pay only the regular maintenance charge or service charge. They don't have to pay for the calling the vehicle in there and getting access to it. That's fairly unique.
And to complete, which is very important as well, after the easy to repair aspect, is the parts availability.
Right.
With a rate of localization of 95-96%, our fill rate, you understand what I mean, the parts availability, at launch will be already at 100%.
Oh.
Fill rate 100%
Okay.
at launch.
At launch.
So the spares will be available readily
At the dealership.
At the dealership.
Okay.
When you
Any
come
spare.
to test drive the car, you
They are all
will have
local.
the spare
They are
parts.
all locals.
Right. Right.
They are
They are
all
local.
Okay. Now, it's very understandable that you guys are expanding slowly and you have a plan in place. And talking about that plan, just to ask you a short answer, what's your plan to expand? Like, are there any numbers that you can share? Maybe for the next 2 years, as to how many touch points can the buyers of the product look forward to
I'll give
having
this
across
answer
India?
again in two parts. One,
Right.
we already have 14 dealerships operational right now. We'll go to 20 by July, and we'll go to 30 plus by the end of the year.
Right.
And then, of course,
So
next
rolling,
year,
it's a
it keeps
permanent-
rolling. It keeps rolling. Second, we have a buy online program. So
Right.
even if you are not in any of these cities where we'll have the dealerships, right now we have 50 pin codes, 50,
Okay.
where you can order the car and we'll deliver a car duly registered, ready to drive with insurance
Okay.
at your doorstep.
Without you having to visit the
Without
dealership
you
at all?
having to visit the dealership, you will choose the car, you will configure the car online,
Right.
you will make the payment online, you will buy a finance and insurance online. If
Right.
you want to trade in, you can trade in online.
Right.
And then we invoice the car, do a temporary registration in Chennai, send the car to your pin code. At that pin code, we register it for you and we deliver it home. This is going to expand from 50 cities to 90 cities at the time of C3 launch. And these are non-competing business models against our dealerships. So they are supplementary to our dealerships. In fact, many cases, our dealership becomes the last mile delivery partner.
Okay.
Which is a fantastic model which helps the dealer actually be in touch with the consumer at the time of delivery and then beyond that, because they will also provide them service on wheels to service the car. So while we expand our dealership network, the brick and click
Right.
digital La Maison showrooms, we will also provide this digital journey in a much more expanded fashion, so that consumers, either through the digital route or through the phygital route, they can reach out to us and we are connected with them.
So this phygital experience is quite unique. That's innovation that you guys are bringing to the table, especially for the Indian market, and doing something which is very different and trying to bridge the gap between having a brick and mortar service station, and getting there, but slowly, and making sure that all the gaps are filled. But in that sense, what is the scope of this phygital experience? Can you elaborate a little bit more about this? For example, I saw this very interesting concept about 180 minutes RSA service that you guys have, where if your car breaks down, you guys are promising that within 180 minutes. So That is one. Remote diagnostics and remote service, the service van. So what's the scope of this? And like, what should the viewers and the consumers should be very clear about that, this is included in the scope of what you're offering and this is beyond it.
So essentially, I mean, there are two parts to it. One is the pre-purchase part. So like I explained, the pre-purchase part of it starts from searching for the vehicle. And then once you've searched the vehicle, you want to configure your vehicle.
Right.
And once you've configured your vehicle, you have two options. One, you can buy it online, in which case you proceed to finance, insurance, accessories, and then payment, and then the entire process of getting the vehicle delivered to your house. If at that gate you decide to go to the showroom and not purchase the vehicle online, you come to the phygital showroom,
right?
And we call it phygital because we got these large configurator screens.
Right.
We got a 3D high definition configurator where whatever you and your family have configured outside the showroom, based on your phone number, you can come back in and start from where you left it on any device.
Okay.
And you start back in the showroom
okay.
from that same point. And then you will see life-size configuration, and you can also replicate it onto the physical car. So we call that a phygital experience because you've come through digital route and you will finally see a physical product as well. That's the pre-purchase and purchase part. Post-purchase is very important in India because all our consumers want to have service, right? And that assurance of service, that I have the manufacturer's assurance that he will be available to me when I need them.
Right.
Which is where we have two different programs. One, which is the service on wheels, which technically if you are a buyer, we will service your car regardless of where you are outside the dealer cities. So we will reach out to you.
Sorry to interrupt, how much would be the servicing radius for
and that's
single
interesting
such van?
part. We currently have dealerships in 14 locations, like I said.
Right.
With these service on wheel vehicles, we've traveled almost 800, 900 kilometers to service one vehicle.
Okay.
And you as an owner have to pay only for the service and spare parts.
That's essentially the cost that the company is bearing to make up for the lack of
which is
dealerships.
What a lot of times we try and say, that we want to build the brand in a way the consumer loves it, and the consumer talks about his or her experience. Rather than we advertising it, we would rather let our consumers talk about it and experience it. And at the same point in time, we have another program which is the roadside assistance program. India, as we know, is a huge country. In majority parts of the country, we offer a 180-minute reach out for the roadside assistance. And we've had some very unique cases where vehicles have been in Ladakh. They've had issues with the vehicle. We've told them you can drive it. The vehicle's fine to be driven to Delhi. Consumers were scared because it's an expensive vehicle. We've taken the vehicle under the RSA program in custody, flown the family to their destination. There was this family from Surat. We've flown them from Ladakh to Surat. We brought the vehicle to Delhi, fixed it, put it on a flatbed, delivered to home in Surat. Now that's the kind of experience we're trying to create for our consumers. And it's all under the comfort umbrella. So if you get that kind of comfort, you will believe in the brand.
There's also this one thing about remote diagnostics. So how is that made possible? If you could just let our viewers know as to if there's a fault with my machine, and if I just want to talk to a technician, what's the scope of that diagnosis?
So in the virtual remote assistance, what we do is that the service on wheels reaches your location. You reach out to us and you tell us what the issue is, or even if you don't tell us what the issue is, the vehicle reaches you, and the technician who reaches on the spot, he gets assistance from our technical center if needed. From our technical center. He has to just scan on which part he is facing a problem. He doesn't have to open anything.
He can have as well a video and talking with someone which is at Chennai, a technical hub or whatever, or even at the factory, if can escalate. If he cannot fix, if he cannot fix, and saying this is, and the guy, they will see the video at the same time, and the guy could speak and say, okay, remove this, like this, show me this, etc. In case of something a little bit more complicated, and that's the beauty of the things.
And stepwise, that technician is guided from a remote location on what to do, how to do, and what is to be addressed.
The objective is to make sure that we can increase the rate of repairing at home. going a little bit more further than the usual service in case of something, because you never know. Even the customer is telling us he cannot come, or we go but we discover something, and if the technician, sometimes is not sure, he can have an interaction with because we have a tech expert platform, as you can expect, and then the guy can visualize and telling, do that, do this, do this, do that, clack.
I'm pretty sure all of those things should give a lot of reassurance to our audience who are watching. To conclude, I would want to ask this one question about the group as a whole. Stellantis has become a global giant now in automobiles. Where does India fit in the entire equation?
Clearly, it's a strategical country. I'm saying it, but recently our CEO, Carlos Tavares, has the opportunity to say it as well to the Indian press. India is a strategical country for Stellantis. There are not so many countries with such potential. We can consider today that TIV is relatively high, but within the next 5-6 years, who knows? But mechanically, if I may say, or organically, I should prefer to say, the market should achieve more than 5 million. There are not so many markets with 5 million. On top of that, we do believe as well that the segment will evolve, because we have a middle class which is going to grow, because the perspective for India are quite good, and the growth of this middle class will irrigate a little bit the TIV, and the segment will evolve. So, for all these reasons, the population of India, which is young, 64% is 34 years, the potential of India. And when you look at the geopolitics, India has a real opportunity today. So we decided in 2019 to come to India, to commit a long-term basis. We have invested as Stellantis 1 billion euro. We have a strong footprint. So this is illustrating what I was speaking in terms of long commitment. We made an application concerning the production-linked incentive from the government for the EV. We are launching the first EV beginning of January. I'm telling you that is because to not to say, we consider India as a treasure country. We do. We have already invested significantly, not for short term or long term. So we do. And the proof is the Smart Car program. We decided a long time ago, in 2017, 2016, to develop this platform first in India.
Right.
And if I speak about Jeep as well, Jeep is going to be the first country out of US, as I explained last time, to manufacture 4 models. Only country.
Thank you very much, guys. I really think it was a very insightful conversation, and it was very information rich for me personally, and I'm pretty sure, since I knew quite a few things, so for people who are not aware of all of these things about the C3 and the brand that we are discussing here, I'm pretty sure that it helped them to understand the brand and the product that you guys are coming up with in much greater detail.
Thank you so much.
And,
Thank you.
I thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for taking time out. It was indeed a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.